Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So Britain is under attack. Yes, Britain's under attack, ladies and gentlemen. There was another church set on fire last night in London, and the mainstream media is absolutely silent. Silently smiling, not saying a word about it. It does seem, and if you guys Google this, excuse me, and if you guys just put on, search engines or whatever AI you guys are using, the amount of churches that are set on fire in the United Kingdom, it's quite, it's quite phenomenal. It really is, guys. So also there's a fire at a school as well. Now, let me be quite clear. The main, this should be the amount of churches, right, that are being set on, well, what are they, guys? I'm saying that these churches are under attack. I'm saying that Britain is under attack. I'm saying that we are in a conflict, and very soon the kinetic currency is going to be the only thing that counts. I'm going to come on to that shortly and explain what I mean by that. But let's just get on to this first, because unless I don't know if you guys know or not, but right now, as we speak, there's a huge, here we are, is this it? No, that's not right. I'm pretty sure there was a huge fire in London, a huge church fire in right. I've been signed out of everything. That's why it's not working. If you guys were on the live stream last night, right, I couldn't turn it off, and then all the screens went blank, and for some reason, I've just been signed out of everything. So I don't know why that is. But anyway, listen, let's just get on with this live stream, because I think I can do this without. Give me a second. Right, I'll share this. I will share. Oh, it's on light mode, right? We're gonna have to go with light mode, guys. We're gonna have to go with light mode. So let me share this. I'll share this little video with you guys, and I'll jump straight back onto it. Listen, guys, Britain is under attack. I'm calling it. Let me know what you think in the comments. So these are allegedly scenes from London last night. Another church up in flames. Wow, look at that, guys. What do you think? We've got Notre Dame going up in flames. Just churches all over the world, guys. Churches all over the world are being set ablaze. Coincidence? Does anyone think this is a coincidence, or does anyone think this is deliberate, or does anyone think, like me, that Britain is under attack? That's what I think, ladies and gentlemen. I think Britain right now is under attack. It's just that nobody's been told we're under attack. Can you imagine, right? Can you imagine if this had been a imagine if this had been like a Russian missile, right? Imagine if imagine the scenes if that was a Russian missile. Well, guess what? You can burn things down and you can have the exact same effect, but you don't spend all the money using using a long range missile. You don't have any of the repercussions from that host country, but you have the same effect. Can you imagine in the Blitz in 1944, 1943, 1944, 1945? Maybe not 1945. But can you imagine when London was being bombed, when Britain was being bombed in the Second World War? If somebody had have said to, Goring, instead of sending all these aircraft over, right, these really expensive aircraft, why don't we just pay people in that country to set their own country on fire? Yeah, this would never work. Those English would not take our money to destroy their own country. But what if before we have this war, we just saturate the ground with, Germans going over on rubber dinghies? I don't know if they had rubber dinghies then. Sending people over and just say they're refugees. Yeah, that plan is so crazy, it just might work.
The buses
ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are joining for the first time right now, we are talking about the blaze in London. Another church has burnt down, and the mainstream media is absolutely silent about this. They're not saying a word. Now, the amount of churches that have burnt down in the United Kingdom, across Europe in the last year, 2 years, 3 years is phenomenal. Now, clearly there's a design fault in the churches, right? You know, because they keep setting on fire.
It's over there, Harry. It's over there. It's over there in that corner.
Look at the people in the background. Look at the people in the background. What do you notice? Right, I just saw something then. This guy here with the hoodie, hang on. This guy with the grey hoodie on, hang on. Right, what's he doing there? Can you guys see that? He's doing like this. Maybe he's angry, maybe he's happy. I don't know. So I will share that video later on, guys. I'll try and give people an update on what is actually happening. But the two things I'm getting from this is, first of all, lots of churches are burning down, right? The second thing I'm getting from that is, like, where's the media covering this? Like, that's, you know, as I understand it, that's West London. It shouldn't be difficult to get a media crew to West London. And we shouldn't have to rely on people with camera phones. However, I guess a third point comes out. You can't hide anything anymore, right? You literally cannot hide anything. There's always someone with a camera phone. There's always someone recording. There's always someone sharing. And like I say on all these videos, you know, you can find out all this information. You just need to know where to look and look what to look for, because there's a lot of misinformation being thrown out at the same time. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Right, I want to explain to you guys something real quick now. Kinetic power is here. So people talk about the demographic change in the United Kingdom, and the demographic change is real. That demographic change is happening. And people keep saying that, you know, native Brits are still the majority in this country, and that may be true, but they hold no kinetic power. Native Brits in this country hold no kinetic power. What I mean by kinetic power is the ability to do stuff. For example, listen, just total hypothetical now, right? Totally hypothetical, right? Let's just say that somebody gave the word in the United Kingdom to, I don't know, I'm just making this up, guys. This has got no significance to what we just saw. Let's just say that somebody said to everybody in the United Kingdom, right, I want all the churches burnt down. You would need kinetic power to do that, right? And you know, these old people are like 60 and 70 who are still forming part of this majority, yet they hold no kinetic power. You're not going to get old people, right, in their Zimmer frames and their wheelchairs going out with a can of petrol, are you? And that's what I'm talking about, guys, okay? Kinetic power. There is that kinetic power. It's already here. And we're already seeing kinetic power manifest on our streets, manifest in our neighborhoods. This is, you know, I mean, I guess in part, there was a woman, and she was talking about, this was a while ago, and she said something, and it always rings quite true to me. She said, the peaceful majority are irrelevant. And she's absolutely right. In any conflict, the peaceful majority, they're irrelevant. Like, you guys are going to be peaceful, right? You're not being helpful then, right? If you're going to be peaceful in a war, you're not really helping things. And if you guys think a war's coming, then that kinetic power, it's already here. The ability to do stuff, right? And I would say we're already too late, because there's a growing population, right? There's a growing birth rate in the United Kingdom, and that birth rate is growing, and there's a dwindling birth rate. So over time, as all these old people, you know, the boomers, the Gen Xers, they get older and older. Like, if you're a Gen Xer now, right, and you're in your 60s, Are you going to be fighting pitched battles on the streets of London? I would say you're not, right? I would say you're not going to be fighting pitched battles. But if you're 16, 17, 18 years old, right, you are absolutely going to be fighting those pitched battles on the streets. Now, if you look at those demographics, if you look at those numbers, I would say the minority swings. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Right, listen, guys, let me jump onto the comments. James Brokey saying, really kicking off in Mexico. The airport is still closed. It is, guys. It's going bonkers in Mexico. So the Mexican government took out this cartel leader. I can't pronounce his first name. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. But they called him like El Machato or something. I don't know what that means, but listen, El Machato. Now the cartels have gone absolutely crackers. They've been setting fire to places. They've been burning stuff down. I think this is on, I think this is part of this broader, this broader conflict. And I think this is part of the United States wanting to take over Mexico. And look, guys, let's all be under no illusion, right? These Mexican cartels are no match for the US military. They are, like, honestly, it's so I feel so embarrassed for the Mexican cartels if they think they can come up against, US military. It's just going to be really embarrassing for them, cartels and criminals, they use intimidation as a means of coercion. I think I've got something in my eye. They use intimidation as means of coercion, and when they come up against a tier 1 unit, maybe even not a tier 1 unit, just like 82nd Airborne or something, these guys are going to get sent to the candy shop in absolute droves. Stop the bags is saying El Macho. They're not going to be very macho when the US get in there. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, let me jump up onto the chat. There's loads of comments on the chat, guys. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Donna is saying people are seen fleeing from the Guadalajara Airport, international airport, reportedly, as gunmen have stormed the airport. Right, is this happening now? I might have to guys, I might have to change up this live stream. Give me a second. Yeah, I might do a live stream on Mexico later. It is going crackers, guys. All right, it is going crackers. But I know you guys live in the United Kingdom, and I don't feel this Mexico stuff is going to affect people in the United Kingdom. This is all part of destabilization, right? This is the United States destabilizing them. And look, you know what? The United States are the big boys in town. They can do exactly what they want. Sean Parsons is saying, ban the burqa, halal slaughter, ban the Quran, book of hate, ban mosque, school of hate. Revolution has arrived is saying, hello, Revolution has arrived. I believe this is your Revolution has arrived. Is this the first time you've commented? Revolution has arrived is saying they talk about how to enslave and transcend people into beams of light, the West in the Epstein files. COVID vaccine was the plan. WEF even say it was a test. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are joining right now for the first time, I'm talking about Britain under attack right now. Britain's in flames. There is a huge fire at a church, although it may have gone out right now. The mainstream media has been silent, and also there's been a huge fire at a school. Let me share this, and then I want to put a couple of things together. Maybe they're connected, maybe they're not. I don't know. Give me a sec. I've just thought of something. Firefighters tackling large blaze at school. Oh, no, it's Devon and Somerset. Devon and Somerset Fire and Rescue said it was alerted to the blaze at the Promise School in Oakhampton. A spokesperson for the fire person said reports came in of flames and thick smoke. About 15 fire service vehicles were sent to the scene, plus special appliances. No injuries have been reported. Is it just me, ladies and gentlemen, or are things in the United Kingdom just being set on fire? Like, honestly, like, has anyone noticed that over the last year? Has anyone noticed the amount of fires that have happened in the United Kingdom? Like, in key locations, fires now in key locations, key infrastructure, public buildings, public facilities, international storage depots, military facilities, substations. Is this just the new normal, guys? Is this just the new normal? And I talk about this all the time. If you were the bad guys, right? And let's just say you're the Russians, whoever, right? Forget Russians, right? Bad guy country X, all right? Bad guy country X. And you're sat there, right? And for example, if the British Defence Minister came out and said he wants to put boots on the ground in 2026 in Ukraine, if you're sat there in Russia, if you're sat there wherever, right? Whatever country, doesn't really matter. This is the new way to wage war, right? If you think about, like, I don't know, if you're sending drones over, like these ones, like a camera in one of those things is going to cost you like $50,000. Then there's your munitions, whatever additional sensors you've got, your control station, your autopilot, the tuning, putting that all together. These things are expensive, right? So let's not worry about how much the costs are of a strike option, right? Let's just say that one camera, a decent camera on a gimbal with a fair amount of zoom, night vision, thermal, it's about 50 grand, right? What do you think you could achieve for 50 grand in that country, right? If you paid criminals. So if you went somewhere, I don't know, if anybody can think of a concentrated area where you may have people who don't identify as British, who identify as foreigners, but they're, whatever. If you can think, if anyone can visualize a place like that, that might have access to Eastern European intermediaries. And if anyone can think of those, I don't know if there's any in the United Kingdom, right? And you go there and you say, listen, I've got $50,000. So maybe like 40,000, whatever. We'll use dollars, right? Let's just use dollars. It's easier. I've got a bag here and there's $50,000 in it. How many substations do you think you could get burnt down for $50,000? How many churches do you think you could get burnt down for $50,000? How many railway lines do you think you could get cut for $50,000? And that's just the price of one camera. So now when we're moving forward, and I'm talking about kinetic currency, getting stuff done, I think it's already too late, guys, because the amount of kinetic capacity now in the United Kingdom is beyond a limit that we can do anything about it. It's like, imagine having a hole in your sock, right? We have wood floors in the house, so I get holes in my socks all the time. Got a hole in your sock, right? You leave it, then it's too late, right? You've got to get rid of it. You've got to throw the socks out, or maybe keep one. Because my right foot always get the holes in them. I don't know why. So that's where we are, guys. The kinetic, that kinetic currency is already here. The power to do stuff. The demographics are now too late. And for those guys who are saying, oh, but British people are still the majority. Yes, I get that they're the majority with voting power. But what's voting power compared to kinetic power. Voting power is nothing compared to kinetic power, right? Kinetic power is the ability to get stuff done. Right, lads, everybody turn up. I want you to burn down all the churches. Yep, right, okay, got it done. What's your vote going to do against that? It doesn't matter who we vote for anymore, guys. We are not in another election until 2029. How bad do you think things are going to be till 2029? If we consider that we had 71,000 people arrive by small boat last year, 71,000, not 71, 43,000, 43,000 people. Sorry, guys, 43,000. Do you know what? I think, give me a second. Let me check. Let me fact check myself. Let me fact check this, guys. I know this information is readily available. 45,000, sorry. 41,000. Huh? 41,000. Sorry, guys. I'll correct myself. It wasn't 71. It wasn't 43. It was 41,000. So 41,000 people. Let's just say we're having 41,000 people arrive every year into the United Kingdom, right? Statistically, in the UK, hang on. The crime rate per capita is, okay, so as of 2025, the crime rate in the United Kingdom is 87 to 100 crimes per 1,000 people, right? So hear me out, guys, hear me out, okay? Now, that encompasses everyone, right? That encompasses everyone. So that encompasses everyone, right? So for the ease of my Raven maths, okay, I'm just going to say that that's 10%, right? Let me share this. Sorry, let me share this. So I'm going to share this with you guys, okay? And guys, just bear with me, please. Let me do the Raven maths, okay? Raven maths, okay? So crime rate in the United Kingdom per capita, all right? So this is everyone, right? And these are the numbers I'm going from, okay? 87 to 107 crimes per 1,000 people, right? That's the crime rate as it is now, okay? So now if we consider that 41,000 people came over in small boats, if we use those same statistics, now you could argue it's higher, you could argue it's lower. That's on you. I'm going to use those same statistics, right? I'm going to say that that's 4,000 criminals came to the United Kingdom last year. You guys can argue, and listen, you guys can argue if it's higher. I actually think it's higher myself, but I'm not going to speculate on what the actual numbers are. These are the actual numbers from the government now. This is from criminalcrimerate.co.uk. 10%. For every 1,000 people, there's between 87 and 107 crimes, right? So I'm going with 10%, right? Just purely because it's easier to work out, right? Raven maths. Doesn't always make sense, but it always works. So if you consider now, 4,000 criminals came to the United Kingdom last year on small boats. And if you're joining for the first time, I've just given you guys my equation for that. And I would stand up in a court of law. If anybody wants to question me on that, I'm going from actual statistics now. They're on the UK website, right? So 4,000 people, right, came to the United Kingdom last year who were criminals. That's my math. That's my working out, right? What do you think you could do with 4,000 paid criminals, right? You've got your workforce of 4,000, and that's just last year. What do you think you could do with them? Do you think you could burn shit down? Do you think you could do you think you could have do you think you could target a town, a city, and say, right, I want to increase crime in this location? There's so many ways that you can force asymmetric warfare. And like I keep saying, guys, okay, the kinetic currency is here. Having the ability to do stuff, having the ability to get stuff done. And it's all well and good People still saying, "Oh, we need to vote." Voting's redundant, guys. Things are going to get worse and worse and worse. Mike is saying, hang on. Mike English is saying it's scientifically proven that low education increases your chance of voting reform. I actually think that may be true, because I think I'm going to vote. I think I'm going to vote for Rupert Lowe's party of business. But very few people with university degrees vote far right. Okay, Mike English, can you tell me where the scientific evidence of that is made? What scientific journal and where it's been peer reviewed, mate? James is saying 48% of Londoners who live in London weren't born in this country. How many million people are in London? I don't know those statistics, guys. I don't know those statistics. What I do know is kinetic power is already here. And we are seeing this on our streets, guys. Another church has been burnt down in the United Kingdom. And if you guys think that this is a coincidence, if you guys think that we are not under attack, please put it in the comments. Guys, if you're joining for the first time, another church has been burnt down in London last night. The mainstream media is absolutely silent. They don't want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about the number of churches that have been burnt down over the past couple of years in the United Kingdom, in Europe. This is happening now on almost a monthly basis. Right, these scenes look like the Blitz. These scenes absolutely look like the Blitz, right? You know when the Germans were coming over and the Luftwaffe in their, in their Messerschmitts, and they were bombing the shit out of London. Like, these look like scenes from there, right? Like, if you'd have been told now that this was an enemy missile strike, can you imagine the outrage? This is all part, as far as I'm concerned, from my analysis, opinion, speculation, of course, allegedly, and all the rest of it. This is an attack on Britain. Take down the churches, take down public buildings, take down infrastructure, just set that shit on fire, right? How much does petrol cost? Just the camera for one of these things, right? Just the camera for one of these things, you're looking at like 50 grand, right? How much petrol do you think you could buy for 50 grand, right? How much petrol in, like, I don't know, wood? Yeah, I mean, you probably would have, how much petrol and wood do you think you could buy for 50 grand? So if you're there sat in a, if you're there and you want to activate your sleeper cells, what are you going to do? Are you going to, if you're going to attack a country, are you going to send your missiles, or are you just going to pay people in that country? If you pay people, it's so much cheaper and more effective. It's like a better and cheaper option. The internet's made so much things better and easier. They've made war better and easier for people with low budgets, right? Now there's a guy somewhere. Hang on.
It's over there, Harry. It's over there. It's over there.
Right. What do you notice about the crowd, guys? Like, what do you notice about the people? I don't know where this area is. I've no idea where this area is, guys. Now that guy there with the hoodie, I don't know what he's doing. you know, he's opening his arms up. I don't know why. Maybe he's happy. Maybe he's sad. I don't know. Can you imagine if this was like, honestly, like when I look at this stuff, I see this as asymmetric warfare. I do. I see this as asymmetric warfare. Very easy to get people to go and burn these things down, right? Like, how much do you think, like, hypothetically, right? Just say that a man, not even a man, a person was in the United Kingdom illegally, right? Just say a person was in the United Kingdom illegally, right? Not just a person. I'm not giving anything else, just a person. How much do you think it would cost to pay that person to go and set a fire in a church? I bet you could get that done for £1,000. I bet you could pay £1,000, maybe even less. You know, hey mate, do you want £1,000? Yes. Right, go and set fire to that church. Come around the corner and I'll give it you. Very easy. And this is what I'm talking about, kinetic power. You know, kinetic power. Having the ability to actually do stuff. Because, guys, look, you know when you vote, for things, like, for example, you vote for, let's just say we vote for Farage in 29, right? You vote for Farage. I saw, what's his name? Zia Youssef, right, today on the TV. And he's a great speaker, Zia Youssef. He is. He's a fantastic speaker. He was really good. And he's saying they're going to deport 300. Is it 300,000? Did he say 300,000 people a year? That seems ridiculously steep. I think it was 300,000 people a year. Okay, first of all, that shows you how bad the situation is, right? Now, how's that going to happen, guys? Listen, and I know people love the clickbait. People love the, they love the red meat. Like, if anyone can give me the legal steps to make that happen, how the kinetic power makes that happen. Because it's all well and good voting and signing little bits of paper, but you've got to have that kinetic capacity to make stuff happen. And I'm not seeing it. So, okay, so Reform, let's just say Reform win the election, right? And Farage is our new prime minister, right? Just let's go with it, right? Let's go with it. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Let me jump on the chat because I think we've got, hang on. Hang on, guys. I'm just checking the chat. Right. Mike English. Real English people are Christian, and Christianity is about love, not hate. Education can cure you guys from Farage. I don't think anybody wants to vote for Farage on here. Guys, a show of hands. Who actually wants to vote for Farage on here? I don't think anybody wants to vote for Farage on here. So I don't know where you're going, Mike English. I wouldn't vote for Farage, so I don't know what you're going. And if you think Farage, listen, Mike English, if you think Farage is right wing, you've got another thing coming. You've absolutely got another thing coming. You probably need to pull your head out of the sand if you think Farage is right wing. So let me just give you, let me give you guys an, it was 300,000. I'm just looking at it now. Hang on. Right, let me share this with you. So we're talking about 300,000 deportations a year. I don't think that's feasible, guys, but let me share this. I've not seen this, but I will share it. Is it that one? Yeah.
Populations that refuse.
Okay, so we're talking about 300,000 people being deported in the United. I don't think that's going to happen. The infrastructure is just not there, right?
Major reform rally, sort of party, sort of press thing this morning with the newly appointed Shadow Home Secretary Zia Yusuf, who is on the show this morning. He's going to pledge a visa ban on Pakistan and 5 other countries with high Muslim populations that refuse to take back illegal migrants, as they say they will deport. This is a reform promise, apparently. 300,000 a year in what many on the left are calling an ICE-style removal force. This is in every single paper. What are your thoughts on this? This is in the Telegraph this morning.
Well, I don't think it's that at all, and I think we'll get all the details later on. But I think it is perfectly legitimate and perfectly sensible, frankly. When you hear so often prime ministers and ministers say, "Well, you know, we try and instruct the civil service to do things. We feel we don't have the levers to pull on things." This is actually saying it as it is to other countries, to say, "Look, if you do not accept people."
Yeah, it's swizzly dizzly, guys. It's folly. It's folly. It's not going to happen. Like, how's that going to work? Like, how are you going to get 300,000 people? Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think what do you think is going to happen to the crime rate as soon as that starts? Let's just pretend that happens, right? Nigel Farage gets in, right? 300,000 people. Your time's numbered. Your days are numbered. Do you think they're still going to be in hotels? They know that their time's numbered. They know that they're getting deported. So what have they got to lose? Like, what have they got to lose? A lot of these countries that these people get deported back to, their living conditions would be worse than prison. Yeah. Like these migrant camps in Calais, prison in the UK is better than these migrant camps in Calais. So, like, right, okay, we're going to get deported as 300,000. Right, okay, let's all get sent to jail. Oh, right, okay, yeah, let's get sent to jail. Then when they're in jail, then when, you know, they have to go through the legal system to get sent to prison, they have a legal system, they have a lawyer, they have a barrister. It's not going to work, guys. With all the best will in the world, it's not going to work. These people are here now and they're here to stay. And more are coming and they have lots of children. They're the facts. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's totally on you. You know, I'm not saying I'm just saying they're the facts, right? 300,001. Let's add Prince Andrew to the list. Right, Mike English, you told me earlier that it's scientifically proven that low intelligence people vote for reform. Can you tell me where that scientific paper was, mate? We like to deal with facts. Googleinos is saying India calls its citizens to leave Iran immediately. Yeah, we all know this is going to go down, guys. The situation in Iran is, I heard something actually, they've all got the poops. They've all got the poops on the USS Gerald Ford. They've all got poopy poopies. Toxic Goyhole is saying the native population needs educating on their rights and their duties. Then you arm the native. I think that's right. I think you mean then you arm the native population and tell the people anyone interfering with their borders and custom will be dealt with by force. I agree, Toxic Goyhole. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening because of the political system that we have. And this all comes down to one simple thing. One simple thing. Here in the United Kingdom, we do not have a legal framework to oppose the government, right? So the government get in, they say they're going to do all this stuff, and they don't. And then we're like, oh, God, yeah, right, okay. We'll wait till the next election. And then the next government get in, and then you're like, oh, God, yeah, right, yeah, okay, right, okay. They didn't do it again, you know. So if we had a Second Amendment, and look, guys, the Second Amendment in the US Constitution, it's not about guns, although it is kind of about guns. The main part of the US Constitution, the Second Amendment in the United States Constitution is the right to form militias, right? And those militias can then oppose the government. So, for example, the best example, listen, guys, Listen, guys, if you're on for the first time, in fact, if you're on for the first time and you've not done so already, please hit those buttons down below, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share. There's like bell notifications down there and all sorts of crazy stuff. Really helps me out when you guys do that. So I am talking today about Britain under attack. We are under attack and Britain is burning right now. And this is happening at a more frequent rate. Churches being set on fire, all sorts of stuff's being set on fire. Now, what we are seeing is real kinetic power, the ability to get stuff done. And I'm saying it's already too late. Okay, that's the crux of this live stream. One of the things I've said on previous videos is I've given the Second Amendment, right? I've given the Second Amendment, the Second Amendment analogy quite a few times now. If we use what happened in Epping, right? Epping Hotel, the Bell Hotel in Epping. Now, this is a perfect example of when, if this happened in America, the citizens of Epping could say, listen, I'm going to invoke the Second Amendment here because you guys are not doing as you're told, right? So I'll give you what happened in Epping, and then I'll say what would happen if we had a constitution in the United Kingdom that gave us Second Amendment powers, right? So people of Epping, they didn't want that hotel. Now, it doesn't have to be a hotel. It could be a power station. It could be a new housing development. It could be fracking. It could be a whole host of things, right? The people in Epping, they did everything right by the book. Peacefully protest, all right? Peaceful protest, every day, but outside the hotel. Peaceful protests. Then they lobbied their local council. The local council voted and said, yep, unanimously, we don't want that hotel there. We're going to close that hotel. Then their local member of parliament, so like their local, like your senator in the United States, gave that the tick in the box. And the government actually came out and, I quote, said, the rights of migrants trump the rights of the people in Epping. Open brackets. Ergo, the rights of migrants trump the rights of people in the United Kingdom. I'm not making this up, guys. This really happened in the United Kingdom. Close brackets. So the hotel stayed open, right? So the hotel stayed open. So the people of Epping went through all the legal chains, all the all those checks and balances. Oh, turns out, yeah, the government just do what they want. Now, if that was in America, and if the same scenario happened in America, right, or in the United Kingdom, and we had a Second Amendment law, or rights, the people of Epping would say, right, we're invoking the Second Amendment here. We are the people of Epping. We want this shit closed down. We voted for it. Our militia are going to do that. Now, whether that's a fracking station or a pipeline or a substation or a hotel, doesn't matter. That's the difference. And that's why so much we need a constitution in this country, because the government can never be held to account. Ultimately, guys, there's only one currency, and it starts with V and ends in lens. It's violence. Ultimately, everything is underwritten by violence. So unless you can legally constitute that violence, you have no power. Violence is ultimate power. And what we're seeing right now on the streets of the United Kingdom is kinetic power in real time. Let me just give you guys, so for those of you guys who don't know, I've been talking a lot about asymmetric warfare, and I would identify asymmetric warfare as a type of conflict where you don't want to a type of conflict where you don't want to use your military power, resources, technology, or capability. Instead, you fight with small clashes, using sabotage, low-cost, irregular attacks on your enemy's infrastructure. And these things are so low cost, it's unbelievable. These low-cost tactics ultimately exploit the stronger side's vulnerabilities. And a good example of this is, can you guys remember couple of. Do you know what? I think it was 24. I think it was 24. It might have been like, I can't remember. It was either last. You know, it's happening all the time. Actually, there's so many of them. The DHL storage depot went up, was set on fire, right? DHL storage, you know what? It actually happened twice, okay? It happened twice. So two DHL storage depots they just went on fire, guys. They just burned. Spontaneous combustion. Two DHL storage depots, both of them in London. I think, well, you know, one was in London. I think one was in, it doesn't really matter where they were. Turns out the one in Reading had drone parts for the military, you know, for a drone company. So turns out, you know, where all these facilities are hardened, you know, you've got these hardened facilities and all this security going in. Turns out those drone parts, you know, those little sensors and the little microchips, and I don't know what they are. Turns out they get them DHL'd in. And guess what? There's no security on those places. You can just walk in. So again, are you going to attack the military head on? No, of course not. You're going to burn the drone. You're going to burn the microchips down, right? Right, burn the microchips. None of those drones are going to work. Oh, man. Nobody cares. They claim on the insurance, but this is part of warfare. The other storage facility that got burnt down in London, the DHL facility, turns out, I think there was like 1,000 Starlink dishes or something due to be shipped out to Ukraine. Coincidence? What do you think, guys? Coincidence? I would say not. Right, I'm just going to jump on the chat. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Roxanne is saying, how do you know the... Oh. Right. Listen, guys. I know there's a few people saying silly... Well, there's diverse opinions in the chat, right? There's diverse opinions in the chat, right? Let's not be rude. Let's not be mean. If you've got a diverse opinion and you disagree with somebody, present your evidence, all right? And we'll talk about it. I always say this, guys. I don't block people from the chat. If people are getting nasty and people are getting mean, I'll put them in, you know, I'll just keep putting them in timeout. But if you've got a genuine opinion, like we've got this guy in the chat at the moment, I can't, Mike or something, he's saying something about if you're educated, you don't vote for reform or something. And he said it's scientifically proven, but like I asked him to present to me the scientific analysis and the paper where he got that from, and he's not presented it yet. So I'm just like not listening to it, but that's fine. Oh, Silly's on. She's saying, Silly is saying, media here report that it looks like Iran and the US will do an agreement and not go into conflict. Well, I mean, so you will get better information than us out here in the West, Silly. I still think I don't think that's likely that they will do an agreement. But listen, who knows? Who knows? We're in crazy times. Right, guys, there's loads of comments. I'm just going to jump down. I'm sorry if I don't, if I miss anyone's comments. Lilaxo is saying, me and my heathen non-believer friend never fight about God. It just never comes up. Yeah, I mean, when I was in the military, there was lots, you know, we had lots of people there, lots of different faiths and ideologies. And what we are seeing right now is something very peculiar on the streets in the United Kingdom. We are seeing kinetic power being pushed forwards and shit is burning. You know, and everybody who talks about voting and stuff, any vote that you guys may or may not be able to do, that's going to be 2030. Can you imagine how bad things are going to be before up until 2029? Sorry. Lisa Jane is saying the independent Poland accuses Hungary of shocking lack of solidarity for Ukraine on eve of war anniversary. Okay, so I think this is because the Hungarians have said they are going to stop sending electricity to Ukraine unless they get Russian oil or something like that, Mike English is saying 1 John. I love 1 John. 4:20. Whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister. Okay, right. Look, guys, Mike, right? You keep coming up, Mike, but listen, right? Let me just throw this out there, okay? This is for you, Mike, okay? We all love. I've got so much love in my heart. Sometimes, sometimes I walk past the checkout machine and it just starts spurting, not a checkout machine, a cash machine. Sometimes I've got that much love in my heart. I walk past an ATM and it just starts spurting money out. Mike, if someone is trying to do you harm, okay, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just sit there and go, I love you, death, Like, what are you supposed to do? Just like hypothetically, as per John 1's teaching, whoever claims to love God and hates a brother or sister is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister, whom they have seen, cannot love God. Okay, right. So in your, in your thing, if someone's coming there and he's running at you and he's got all, it's like it's the apocalypse, right? Imagine it's the apocalypse, right? Mad Max apocalypse, right? And you've got Humongous, right? Humongous is running towards you now with all his chainmail on. What are you going to do? Are you going to go, I love you, Humongous, the Lord will... Like, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? Claire Endon, is it Clarendon, I think, is saying England was here before the church. So I think what's going to happen to the United Kingdom, guys, listen, I've been quite clear about this. Look, we are already seeing this, guys. Listen, guys, if you're joining for the first time, I'm just conscious I want to share this video again before I close this down now. If you guys are joining for the first time, I'm calling it Britain is under attack. We are under attack right now in Britain. Britain, as we speak, is in flames. And the mainstream media has been absolutely silent about this. What you are seeing is kinetic power, the ability to get stuff done. Now, in London, last night, there was another church set on fire. And let me just, can you imagine if this was like a mosque or something else? I mean, look at that building, guys. That building, I can only assume how beautiful and grand that church was, built by Christians hundreds of years ago to worship their God. And look, guys, I'll be quite honest. That's not me. But I do understand this is beautiful architecture and it's very significant. And why are all these churches going up in flames? Is it just bad health and safety? Those scenes there look like the Blitz. That looks like the Blitz, guys. This is West London. This is West London, guys. I always like, when I'm looking at these videos, right, and I'm doing analysis, I always like to look at the crowd. See how the crowd are reacting. See how the emergency services interact with the population. So, and again, this is, for you guys doing your own analysis, right? I mean, the headline could be anything, right? They could have a headline and some dramatic music, and it could be saying something totally different. But look at how people are interacting. look at the demographics of the people, you know, and try and build up your own picture from the images. All right. Listen, and I know this is wild, and this is one of the things that this is one of the things that I worry about, because previously on Raven, I look at these images, and that's what I do. You know, I look at the people, I look how they're interacting. I look, you know, do they have kit lying around the floor? Does it look like these people trust each other? Does it look like the people in the crowd are in rival groups? Does it look like something's just kicked off? How are the cars parked? Are they parked on, you know, and all sorts of that. You can build up a pattern of life picture, right? Just from very rudimental images, right? So it doesn't matter whether it's like dramatic music over the top. Dum, 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 dum. London church burns. Arsonists at large. Or do, 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 do. Final farewell to Britain's church as the new ground moves in. You know, so it doesn't really matter what, you know, the music and the headlines on the background are. Look at the pictures, right? Look at the pictures, you know, and see what you can take. Now, we're in a very peculiar part in humanity's, you know, in humanity's story, because we don't even know what pictures are real anymore. I do see this as credible. But with AI, we are going to be, I'd say we're already there now, where we don't actually know what's real anymore.
It's over there. Harry, it's over there. It's over there in that corner.
I mean, okay, so just like, you know, what I'm getting from that. You know, I think the crowd's been quite cooperative. I don't think anybody's giving any trouble here. The emergency service workers are allowed to move freely. And look, this doesn't always happen. A lot of the time, emergency service workers get attacked, but looks like everybody's complying. And I think these people are just out to see what's happening. But as I understand it, this was at 1:30 in the morning, and there's a lot of people out for 1:30 in the morning. I'd be sleeping at nights at 1:30.
It's over there. It's over there in that corner.
So there we are, guys. Another church, another British church gone up in flames. I don't know how many this is now. I do not know how many churches have been set on fire in the United Kingdom, guys. It's absolutely unbelievable, the amount of this is happening. At some point, somebody on the mainstream media has got to say, hang on a minute. This is a lot of churches that are getting burnt down. And look, maybe it is just bad health and safety. Maybe it's just bad housekeeping. Maybe it's the wrath of God. Maybe God is thinking, right, that church, we're having a, maybe God wants to build a block of flats there or something. He's like, whoosh, with his lightning bolt. I would suspect not. Lionel Stokey is saying probably need a new mosque. Oh, hang on a minute. Lionel Stokey is saying probably need a new mosque. So with the church being attacked, I'm sure Keir Starmer will give more money to protect mosques. Look, guys, I know that's funny, but like, yeah. That is what's happening. There is a fund of like 20, give me a second. I think it's like something ridiculous, like 25 million specifically to protect mosques, right? That's, you know, that let me Google this, because I need to be very careful with this. Okay. How no, 40 million. Right. So I'm going to share this with you guys. Okay. So there is a pot. So there is a pot of 40 million. Look, this is what AI is telling me, right? I'm pleading the fifth on this. I thought it was 20. The UK government is providing up to 40 million through the Protective Security for Mosques scheme to support security at mosques, Muslim schools and community centres, reported by UK government, right? So 40 million for mosques, okay? That's what AI is telling us, right? Let me close this down. So bear that number in mind, guys. Bear that number in mind. 40 million to protect mosques. That's what AI is telling us, right? That's what, oh shit. Which is part of 117 million to be spent over 4 years to protect mosques and Muslim faith schools, right? Well, okay, that's all right. Let's just go with that 40 million, which is what AI told us, right? I'm going to ask the same question, but I'm going to change the word mosque to church. Right, so it's okay. Right, I'll share it with you. But the information's presented differently, so I'll share this with you guys. So bear that in mind. 40 million to protect mosques. The UK is providing 23 million a year in 25-26 through the listed places of worship grant scheme. So that's for everywhere, right? So 23 million for everyone, for any other place of worship, but this is to support repairs and conservation of listed religious buildings, right? Additionally, a separate record high 5 million fund is available specifically for physical security of Christian, Hindu, Sikh, and other non-Muslim Jewish faith sites. So 40 million for mosques, right? For their security. And 5 million to be shared through between Christian, Hindu, and Sikh places of worship. That's what AI is telling us, guys. That's what AI is telling us there. Right there. Can you guys see that? What I've highlighted. You guys take whatever you want from that. That's what AI is telling us, right? Maybe AI is wrong. Maybe AI is wrong. Is anyone seeing, like mosques being set on fire, or is it just churches? So churches get set on fire, right? More money for mosques. Just saying, guys. I'm just saying that's what's happening. Lisa Jane is saying 3,237 churches recorded criminal damage, vandalism, arson between 22 and 23. Right, Lisa Jane, if you put the same question in AI and change churches for mosques. Right, I don't know what that means. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start to close this down. I am. If you're on and you've not done so already, guys, make sure you hit those buttons down below. Like, comment, subscribe, bell notification. Really helps me out when you do that, okay? Britain is under attack. I'm calling it. We're under attack. Another church has gone up in flames. The mainstream media, there's not been a peep out of any mainstream media about this, guys. Not a peep. And what you are seeing now is real power, kinetic power, the ability to get stuff done. Now, that kinetic power is not being wielded by 60-year-old men and women in their bought and paid for house in Surrey, right? This kinetic power is being wielded by youths, that I would speculate do not identify as, native British. That's what I would speculate. And I'm saying that because there are a lot of churches being burnt, and I just don't think native Brits would burn churches. Also, last year, and I listen, guys, I did the maths on this. I did the Raven maths, right? The crime rate, 41,000 people came to the United Kingdom on small boats last year, and this is not, I'm just giving you guys the numbers, right? 41,000 people. Now, the crime rate in the United Kingdom is between, and if you guys want to know where I'm getting these numbers from, you'll have to wait till the video's uploaded and rewind. The crime rate in the United Kingdom is between 87 and 107 crimes per 1,000 people, right? So just for Raven maths, all right, we'll say that's 10%, all right, just for argument's sake. So we say it's 10%. Could be a little bit more, could also be a little bit more or less, if that makes sense. So let's just say it's 10% for ease of calculation. So if you say that 10% of all migrants that come here, you could argue that this is wrong, but this is what I'm going from, are criminals. We are letting in our country 4,000 criminals a year. Now, that seems to me a little bit high. So you can imagine that you've got a workforce of 4,000 people in the United Kingdom. And if we are, and I believe we are, heading towards global conflicts on an industrial scale, then why would you bother with missiles? You wouldn't. You would just pay people, right, to set fire to stuff. Malinois attitude. I was just, I'm just reading that because I love Malinois. They're a fantastic animal. Right, I'm going to get the last comments, guys, and then I'm going to close this down. Claire is saying, why would a legal professional enter a country illegally? Be Happy is saying it's all planned for destruction and divide and conquer. I believe so as well. You know what? Be Happy. What fantastic. Right, guys, listen, I am going to close this down now. I'm going to be back on. Oh, hang on. Googleinos is saying, Sean, wait. Googleinos is saying, Sean, wait. I was just going to close it down, but Googleinos is saying, Sean, wait. I'm trying to send something. It keeps blocking it. Check Rupert Lowe's post. Right, hang on a minute. The entire British. Oh, okay. Right, are we talking about three? Right, okay. Oh, right, yeah. Okay, so Rupert Lowe's just posted something 4 minutes ago. It's difficult to listen to. He's talking about, the inquiry they did about the gangs. And I'll try and read this to you guys. In fact, I'll try and read this to you guys, but leave it as, I'll miss out keywords, but you guys will be able to fill them in yourselves. So, our gangs inquiry released a statement this morning, detailed the most brutal sufferings anyone could imagine on an innocent young woman. If you have not read it, I urge you to go and digest it. People need to understand what's happened and is still happening. I sat for 2 hours listening to that brave woman. It was one of the most harrowing experiences of my life. Before the hearings, I did not think it was possible for one human to inflict such evil onto another human. It is. I'm going to leave it there, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I think Silly's on here, and Silly Gallardi, she's from Israel, and she tries to warn people in the United Kingdom how bad things will get, but nobody seems to listen. Like, nobody seems to listen. You know, we've got people on here saying you should love everyone, and, you know, we should love everybody, and everybody's like, if somebody is committing evil, do you love them? Honestly, like, I think very soon love and hope are going to be gone. When the civil war starts, guys, and we're already seeing it, the kinetic power is real. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I am closing this down now. I am going to close this down. You guys are fantastic. I'll be back on later. I've got 2 videos to do with you guys. I've got 2 videos to do for you guys. I'm going to do Prepping 101, home defense, how to secure your homes. I was going to do this yesterday, but the video got bigger and I decided to do it in 2 parts. So I'm going to do a part 1 and then I'll try and do a part 2 because I didn't want to confuse things because there's 2 to secure your home, basically. Like, the best way to secure your home is to secure your country, right? Make sure you've got a safe country. But to secure your home, there's 2 things really. Secure your home and secure your neighborhood. And I didn't want to mix them up, but they kind of go hand in hand, right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close it down now. I'll be back on later. And I bid you good morning.